My professional learning network. I started using Pinterest for teaching long before I knew what a professional learning network was. As a new teacher, I would scour Pinterest for interesting and exciting ideas to do with my students. I soon found I would come across pins from the same users again and again. I began following the boards of those teachers that had consistent ideas relevant to my teaching. I've started using Instagram as a scrapbook. Here I can post quick pictures of activities I have my students do. I've found some other teachers to follow too, and I enjoy being inspired by them. I'd like to start using Instagram more as a parent communication tool too. It's an easy way to keep parents connected to what we're doing in the classroom. Twitter was difficult for me to jump into. At first, it was hard to find relevant people to follow, and there was an initial awkward phase, for me anyway, of how to even tweet. I've started retweeting posts though, sharing some of my Instagram, and following tags. The short vignettes make it easy to get a lot of information quickly. Even though Teachers Pay Teachers wasn't a platform that was mentioned in class, I use it quite often to connect with other teachers of my grade level who make resources that are interesting for me to also use in mine. I will also follow the links and profiles back to their blogs, and then I'm able to comment on a lot of the posts that they make about what they do in their classroom. I use YouTube to find videos to support my instruction. I especially like to find short songs and videos to help my students remember grammar rules and multiplication facts. I'm also able to use YouTube to upload longer videos that I can then share with parents and colleagues. As I develop plans for a blended classroom, I'll use YouTube even more. ProTeacher is another platform that was not mentioned in class but that I have found very helpful. This is a forum that I will use to ask questions and have teachers give me input. I can also use ProTeacher to gather ideas for lessons or troubleshoot difficulties I'm having in the classroom. This forum is organized so you can find teachers who teach similar things as you. I have a Weebly website for my classroom, but I haven't utilized it as much as possible. There are pages for the different content areas with links for resources for the students to use. The student aspect of Weebly is set up, but I haven't had students use it yet. As my students become better at typing, it may be a tool I'll use more. Flipboard is actually my biggest flop. I like the idea of it finding articles for its users to read to stay updated, but because I struggled to even read for pleasure during the school year, reading for work just wasn't something I could add. Flipboard is more time-consuming than Pinterest or Twitter, so I dropped my use of it pretty quickly. Mystery Skype was a fun experience when we did it in this class, but I was intimidated to do it with my own students. I chose a pre-recorded Google Classroom session to try out instead. The program was a little glitchy, but my students enjoyed it. I do want to try a Mystery Skype soon though, because of how my students responded to the Google Classroom. I really liked screencasting to create videos to remind my students of how to navigate different applications online or to give instructions for assignments. In my Technetier troop, I even taught some of the older students how to make a screencast to show off their coding skills. In the future, I'd like to make videos for parents to use as well. Finding out about the different tools on Pioneer Library was a game changer for me. I've always struggled with wanting students to do research, but there wasn't an age-appropriate search engine for them to use. My favorite Pioneer Library tools are Infobits, Culturegrams, and Worldbook Encyclopedia. Infobits makes it especially easy to cite sources. LucidPress seems to lend itself well to parent communication, both in email correspondence and posting it to a classroom webpage or a Twitter feed. Because this tool can be used collaboratively, I would definitely be interested in having my students use it as a presentation tool for projects. The interface is a little more complicated, so I think I would prefer to use this with older students rather than my third graders. My students responded very well to Edmodo initially. They were excited with how much it looked and felt like Facebook. I had them take a survey, connect their CSC Docs drive, and submit something they had typed. I didn't explore the badges, but I like this aspect for possibly gamifying my classroom. I will continue to explore this platform this year to use it more exclusively next year. Having a blended classroom is now a dream of mine. With screencasts, video lessons that I make or find on YouTube, and online practice sites like Khan Academy, which also give teachers feedback, I feel like I could best utilize my instructional time. In a blended classroom, students are driving their own instruction at a pace that is appropriate for them. One of the resources I tried out during our first in-class meeting was Storybird. Storybird has a relatively easy interface to navigate, and the art is very alluring to any author. I've used Storybird with my skill-based groups when they are ready to publish a story. I like how their stories are then available for other students in the class to read online. My most utilized tool is Google Drive. Because each student has a CSD Docs account, they have a designated storage space for all documents and presentations they create. I love how students can share their work with others to collaborate or peer edit. Weekly in my classroom, students create vocabulary presentations and type responses. Many sites will connect to a Google Drive account to submit assignments. Using so many new applications is challenging to students. The number of logins alone can be tricky. When I can, I try to keep them like the ones they already use for other programs. Also, third graders are very new to typing, so platforms that require students to type can be time-consuming. Spelling is also an issue, despite showing them countless times how to correct it. Adobe Voice was one of the first new apps that I showed to my class after learning about it in a different course. Students took off with this app, creating videos about animal adaptations, bird nests, and more. Adobe Voice has magical powers in bringing students together. I found they love combining their voices when adding audio. It's really cute, too. Kahoot is also a winner in my classroom. I've had students play individually and in teams. Despite it being the same content, students have a lot more fun and give me more of their attention when we play Kahoot. Kahoot even has a ghost mode that lets students compete against their former selves. If I need a quieter, calmer classroom, I also use quizzes. Since introducing and experimenting with technology in my classroom, I've seen so much growth in students academically, socially, and their computer literacy and their problem-solving skills. Using online and mobile technologies is about so much more than just using technology. These tools prepare students for a future revolving around online resources and learning. I'm really looking forward to continuing to explore and develop my own use of these tools.